The oil that may be moving global fuel markets isn't crude. It's fryer grease. A waste product from fast food kitchens, hotel buffets, and street stalls is now tied to subsidies, shipping routes, and sustainability targets worth billions. And when governments started paying a premium for green fuel made from used cooking oil, that grease stopped behaving like trash. It started behaving like currency. This story is about used cooking oil, often called UCO. In theory, it is simple. Collect waste oil, refine it into biofuel, cut emissions, and turn garbage into energy. In practice, it became a subsidy-driven arbitrage machine linking restaurants in Asia, fuel blenders in Europe, and compliance markets in the United States. My view is blunt. Once policy began rewarding the label more than the molecule, fraud became a business model waiting to happen. Start with the smallest unit in the chain. A restaurant empties old fryer oil into a bin. A collector buys it. That collector sells to an aggregator. The aggregator sells to a processor. The processor turns it into feedstock for renewable diesel or sustainable aviation fuel. Then a trader moves the cargo across borders, and somewhere at the end of the chain, a fuel company claims credits, tax advantages, or compliance value because the feedstock is supposed to be waste, not virgin vegetable oil. That distinction is everything. If the feedstock is truly waste, regulators often reward it more generously than crop-based oils. In the European Union, waste-based biofuels have benefited from double counting rules under renewable energy policy. In the US, renewable diesel and biodiesel economics have been shaped by renewable identification numbers under the Renewable Fuel Standard, plus tax credits that changed margins dramatically. In the UK and parts of Asia, similar incentives turned certification into a source of value almost as important as the fuel itself. And that is where the mystery begins. How do you prove that a barrel of oil came from a fryer in Jakarta and not from a fresh palm plantation nearby? For years, demand for UCO rose faster than many analysts believed genuine supply could grow. The International Energy Agency has repeatedly highlighted the role of waste oils and fats in renewable diesel expansion. Neste, one of the world's biggest renewable diesel producers, has said waste and residue feedstocks are central to its model. The problem is simple enough to explain at a bar. When a subsidy makes used oil worth much more than fresh oil, someone will be tempted to make fresh oil look used. That temptation shows up in trade data. Reuters reported in 2023 and 2024 on European concerns that imports labeled as used cooking oil from Asia were rising so fast that officials and industry groups questioned whether enough real waste oil existed to support the volumes. The European Waste-Based and Advanced Biofuels Association warned that fraudulent feedstocks could be entering the system. At the same time, China's exports of UCO and related feedstocks surged as European renewable diesel demand stayed strong. Now, zoom out. A restaurant in Bangkok does not know it is participating in a transcontinental compliance trade. Yet the oil from that kitchen can be collected, blended, relabeled, certified, shipped to Singapore, loaded onto a tanker, and sent toward Rotterdam or the US West Coast, where its final value depends less on chemistry than on paperwork. I find that detail almost absurd. We like to imagine energy markets as pipelines and drilling rigs. Increasingly, part of the action is taking place in the back alley behind a fried chicken shop. But the real distortion is not just fraud. It is logistics. Once UCO became globally tradable, shipping itself started to reshape the market. Waste oil is bulky, messy, fragmented, and geographically scattered. It must be collected from thousands of small points, consolidated, filtered, documented, and moved in containers, tank trucks, flexi bags, or specialized liquid bulk systems. That creates a chain with more handoffs than crude oil, more room for relabeling, and more opportunities to mix grades. Every handoff adds cost. Every border adds incentives. Every certification adds a premium. So traders begin doing what traders always do: arbitrage. They compare the value of the same molecule under different rules. In one market, it is low-grade waste. In another, it unlocks premium credits. In another, it can be blended into renewable diesel with higher margins than conventional biodiesel. The cargo does not chase purity. It chases the highest policy price. That helps explain why a humble waste stream can influence fuel prices far beyond its physical volume. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, U.S. renewable diesel capacity expanded sharply in the early 2020s, increasing competition for feedstocks like soybean oil, tallow, and UCO. As renewable diesel plants bid harder for limited waste oils, prices of those feedstocks climbed. The result spilled into food oils, animal fats, and freight decisions. One subsidy-backed lane can distort several neighboring markets. Ask yourself this: if Europe pays a premium for waste-based fuel, and the US pays another premium through its own credit structure, where does the world's used oil go? To the highest bidder, of course. That means trade flows can swing fast. A cargo that might once have stayed regional suddenly crosses oceans because the policy spread justifies the freight. Mini hook. And then investigators started asking whether some of that oil had ever been used at all. This is the darkest part of the chain. Industry groups, certification bodies, and journalists have spent years circling the same suspicion. Virgin palm oil mill effluent derivatives, or other lower value materials may be entering the market under labels that imply waste origin. The exact scale is contested. That matters. But the incentive is not contested at all. If a feedstock gains extra value by being classified as waste, then the chain attracts bad actors the way tax havens attract shell companies. In 2024, the European Commission moved toward tighter scrutiny on biofuel feedstocks and certification pathways amid mounting concern over fraud risks. Reuters and the Financial Times both described pressure from European producers and policymakers to examine whether imported waste oils were being misdeclared. In the US, regulators and market participants have also faced questions over traceability as renewable diesel production ramps up. No one wants to say the quiet part out loud, but I will. A green premium without hard verification can become a laundering system for molecules. But wait, the biggest twist is that even honest cargo can create misleading climate math. Suppose the oil really is used cooking oil. Good. It gets turned into renewable fuel in Europe. Also good. Yet, if that same waste oil would otherwise have been used in animal feed, chemicals, soaps, or local fuel markets, then pulling it into subsidized transport fuel creates displacement somewhere else. Another input has to replace it. Often, that replacement is virgin oil. This is the hidden architecture of the problem. The market celebrates the visible green barrel, while the displaced barrel becomes someone else's problem. Economists call this indirect effect. Ordinary people call it moving the mess. And I think that is the insight too many sustainability headlines skip. A supply chain can be technically compliant and still economically misleading. Once you see that, the shipping map starts to look less like recycling and more like a global shell game. Consider the optics. A waste product from one continent is shipped thousands of miles, processed with energy, traded through brokers, and celebrated as low-carbon progress on another continent. Sometimes that may still reduce emissions. Sometimes it may not.